Further Adventures of Hank the Cowdog, Chapter 12, Part 2. I gave the cat a pretty sound thrashing before he slipped out of my grip and made a dash for the feed barn. There's a hole at the bottom of the door, just big enough for him to slither through, but not quite big enough for a dog. Pete made a run for it, one step ahead of my jaws. He made it through the hole, and I figured, what the heck, I might as well tear the door down, so I lowered my head and rammed it into the hole. Turned out the door was a little stouter than I'd thought, cricked up my neck pretty severely, and boy, I was surprised when I couldn't get my head out of the hole. I had to throw everything into reverse and plow with all four paws before my head popped free. Drover was still hopping up and down. Out of the way, Hanky. Nice work. Boy, we taught him. I straightened up my neck. I kept marching, didn't say a word, and in a flash, Drover was highballing it up the hill to the machine shed. I took out after him, figured I'd catch him about halfway, only Drover's faster than you might suppose when he knows his life's in danger. Never did catch the runt, but he disappeared inside the machine shed. You might as well come out, Drover, I said. Come on, Drover, face the music. We were only funning you, Hank. It wasn't real. Pete said so. You coming out to do, or do I have to tear this place apart? I'm scared. All right, you asked for it. I waded in, when something got in my way. You should have heard them paint cans clatter, because I knocked him over all right. I mean, when Hank the Cowdog gets on a case, nothing's safe, especially a villain. It's only a matter of time until I track down the villain, and you can imagine the terrible scene. So Drover was in real peril. I tore the place apart. Drover, tell you what I'm going to do. If you'll turn yourself in, we'll forget the death penalty. I'll let you off with a good thrashing. I'm still scared. I'm too scared to walk. All right, a minor thrashing. I'm petrified, Hank. I can't move. I thought for a long time. Justice has to be flexible. Here's my last offer, Drover. If you stand still with your nose in the corner for 15 minutes, we'll let it slide. He came out. He'd been under the canoe. Sure thought he was behind the paint cans. Now you march down to the gas tanks and put your nose in the corner. All right, but that's a terrible punishment. You bet it is. We picked our way through the junk. Oh my gosh, Hank, look at you. You're bleeding. I glanced down. Sure enough, my feet were covered in blood. Drover sniffed the air. Wait a minute. What's that I smell? Just before I lost consciousness, I sniffed the air. What is that smell? It's red paint. So I marched Drover down to the gas tanks. He stuck his nose in the corner. It was a terrible punishment, all right, but he had it coming. Well, it was great to be home again. I mean, in just a few days' time, I'd managed to get all the loose ends tied up. I had my ranch back in order, and things were running smoothly again. Just to give you an idea of how well things worked out, around 7 o'clock in the morning, I looked up in the sky and saw the silver monster bird. But he wasn't flying low this time. No siree, he was way the heck up there. I mean, you scare them birds bad enough, they'll stay off your ranch. They know the meaning of danger. I was watching the monster bird pass over when I heard High Loper and Slim coming down the hill. I looked around and was shocked to see a smile on Loper's face. Hank, by golly, I just heard the good news. Billy called, and boy was he steamed up. Said you gave his Doberman a lickin'. Heck of a deal. He whopped me on the side of a couple times. This calls for celebration. Double dog food, Hanky. Come on, boy, let's go up to the machine shed. Off we went, a loyal, courageous dog and his master. It was just, by George, a pretty touching moment in ranch history. But as you expected, Drover tried to butt in. You stay here, son. You think about doing right for a change. Loper chuckled all the way up the hill. Just went over there and whipped that old Doberman on his own ranch. I like that, Hank. Shows spunk and spirit and vinegar. And we walked into the machine shed. Loper stopped. His smile began to drop, then it fell flat. His eyes went to the paint cans and the big puddle of red on the floor. He looked at the red tracks. He looked at my red paws. I glanced around to cast an accusing eye at Drover, but naturally the little dunce wasn't paying any mind, so I began to wag my tail. Can't see that it would serve any purpose to go into details here. It should be clear by now the machine shed was damaged in the line of duty, and it should be clear that misunderstanding is just one of the prices of greatness. Those of us who live on heights must live within the judgments of small minds. We can only hope that in our next life, justice will reign. It reigns here, but it also hails. And that is the end of the second book in the Hank the Cowdog series, The Further Adventures of Hank the Cowdog. I hope you guys enjoyed this book, and I will see you for the next one in our series. Great job, guys.